gaming now. Yeah. So this person's gonna die, so we're gonna have to have a chat with them. Tell me about Poe. He's still doing it on the radio, right?
On the radio.
Oh, right. I
Sorry,
get it.
you know that already.
No, I didn't actually.
We've been partners for 2 years now.
Right.
He's a good friend.
Right. Okay. Does he murder people?
Can't we be both, Sam? Poe's his radio name. He's actually John Poe. He's on air now, but you can come back at 8:30 if you want to see him.
I don't want to see him. What am I, a detective? Where were you last night?
We both were.
Prove it.
We broadcast live hourly news reports.
How do we know it wasn't
It's how we keep our funding.
Pre-recorded? Do you know Dorota?
Yes. We were friends.
Oh. I was going to say bakery,
I hadn't known her for long.
colleagues.
Only a few weeks.
Okay. How did you meet her?
We met at the gala.
What one?
I was hosting and she was playing.
Oh.
The cello, you know?
I do know cello, yeah.
We talked for a little while and then she asked me for a drink after the show.
You were in the cupboard jacking it off while she was banging her boyfriend and strangled her, didn't you?
After we'd had a few drinks, she invited me back to her house.
Oh shit, she is. Alright, so...
I thought we were just gonna chat, watch a movie, that sort of thing. Then she kissed me.
You were in the one in the cupboard.
She was so attractive.
I got it out of him. I'm a good detective, man.
I kissed her back.
And then...
This is just between us, right?
No, I'm a policeman. It's going to go in a report. Probably tell the press too.
We fooled around. I don't have many friends, Sam.
Nerd.
Everyone thinks because I'm on the radio, I have tons of friends, so nobody ever approaches me.
Why don't you approach them?
I get lonely.
Buy a prostitute.
Dorota was my friend.
Hey, and welcome back, Starry Dude. How have you been, my man? It's lovely to have you. You have no friends? I'm gonna go fool around and see what she says.
I'm not going into detail, Sam.
I'm a police officer. Oh, okay.
Multiple times.
Oh. One session, multiple. Did you know she had a boyfriend?
Oscar.
You homewrecker.
Yeah. She was a bit confused.
Glad to hear.
When we started seeing each other, she didn't like him touching her anymore.
Oh.
I didn't mind. But she did.
Oh.
So I told her if he wanted to get sexual, then maybe she should try something else.
What, like a sandwich? Sandwiches aren't that sexual. And I'm doing great, cheers, Ty man. We're currently being a detective that can shapeshift into people to see if they're lying and shit. So far we found no lions, but a couple of people been lying, for sure. Let's get ethical, ethical.
I said some guys like to watch, so tell him it would be sexy if he could look, but he couldn't
there you go.
touch.
So he was in the
cupboard.
cupboard.
As far as I know, it worked.
That's why she pushed him into the cupboard. How did it work?
She told Oscar to watch from her walk-in wardrobe.
Right.
When he was at a safe distance, she put on a show.
Right.
She faked it.
Oh. She didn't at least enjoy herself. Yeah.
She told me she faked it.
Nah, she loved it. She loved being by herself and having someone watch.
You'd know best.
Yeah. You know why she had a wedding dress?
It was her mom's. She was saving it in case she ever got married.
The mum we still haven't been able to talk to the mum.
No. Sorry. I did have a strange dream last night, though.
I don't forgive her.
My life was playing on a TV screen.
Right.
And every time I did something, another version of me started playing over the first.
Right.
In the end, there were so many versions, it became a fog.
Okay, you're a fog.
It filled my lungs.
You have foggy
I couldn't
lungs.
breathe.
Okay.
And then I woke up.
Right, that's a great story. Thanks for telling me that dream. I mean, it means you have dreams. And they're as boring as anyone else's, dumbass. Let's wind her up though.
I don't know what. I mean, I'm anxious now.
Yeah, you're probably gonna die.
Maybe it was predicting Dorota's death.
Maybe you predicted it. Yeah, you could die. That's it. What do you want me to do?
Just don't hurt me.
Well.
Or let me get hurt.
Can't promise that one. I'll try not to punch you.
Not very well.
She knew him
Done
well.
a few shoots of me and Poe.
Oi, oi.
To promote the show.
Not boudoir ones. private sessions?
No. Zach keeps asking, but I just don't want to. Not for him, but Dorota did.
Oh, for
She
her.
gave me the pictures as a gift.
Oh.
She looked amazing.
Well, that's nice then. Do you have the pictures? No one's letting us see the pictures, man. This is bullshit. Oh, hello.
Sam, you forgot your phone.
Alright, well don't do that again, bitch. Get back into your normal spot where I'm allowed to talk to you. Don't you dare come out of the game like this again.
He didn't have many places to hide.
Okay.
Officer Peter sighed.
Let's see if we can talk to... Hey, where is he again, man? This dude, he's
Or
never
she
home
turns
now.
around one last time.
Right, mate?
Monroe. Everyone knows her. She's a local radio star here.
Yeah, she gonna die.
Couple of times, promo shoots, that sort of thing.
How do you figure out?
No, she is my type though. Type of model. I'll ask her about the boudoir shoot again.
Good stuff. Yeah, good shout, good shout. Cool. Okay, that was... Yeah.
That
So we've
voice.
convinced him to keep asking that poor
Turn
woman
and
if
see
she'll
Vanessa
get his
upright on
tits,
the couch.
get her tits out for him.
Just like
Metro
before
Trilogy
I
Roster will
shot
be
her.
May 14th. Fucking
I
A.
believe you,
It'll be
I
up for
say,
48
looking
straight
at my
hours from
gun.
then on.
I
48?
just shot
The
you.
whole trilogy?
You didn't
Boy,
shoot me.
you're gonna
just
need like
once.
300 hours for
I
that
told
shit.
you to think that
Yeah,
you shot
boy.
me, and you did. So, my alpaca couch, I ask hopefully.
Let's see the chief.
Sam,
What's up, chief?
do me a favour, go easy on Violet.
Fucking
If
wrecker.
we need to get anything out of her, let me deal with it. She'll open up to me.
I'll go see her first when I get back home. What do we know?
We've got a new target.
For a day until They're More Trilogy.
Ella
Right,
said
good
she was in a
shout, good shout.
relationship with Dorota.
Oh, now you know that.
And she liked it.
This guy's just like telling me
She told
like,
you where
wait
John
late.
Pope, or Poe, is going to be next. Rain still says he was praying in his room, alone. You say Bronwyn and Lexi's alibis don't add up?
Nope.
Violet says she doesn't remember last night, but
Nope.
I've got that in hand.
You're
Zach
sketchy
Weston
as
says
fuck,
he was in
dude.
his studio last night.
Why can't he just tell me? I'm
No
clearly
one
working with
worries.
him.
And he keeps asking Ellis to pose nude.
Like, he knows all this shit.
Oscar's in the clear. He was playing
Why do I need to go
football
find
last
it?
night. He said that Dorota had a wedding dress in her closet.
We haven't spoke to anybody to confirm he was
Ooh.
actually playing football. He's just said that's what he's doing.
That's it.
You're it. And why can't we talk to the... Why can't we talk to the mother, man? The mother who found her dead.
Today
I'm guessing we'll find out later, but...
Cool object.
Still
So what
raining.
might this be?
What a wet night.
Well,
Wet
it
ass
definitely
night.
looks like
Yeah.
an alien.
Might
And from what I
book the
can
week off
see,
work. That's not a bad
it's
shout,
like
man.
a-
It'll be a fucking awesome week, I'm sure. Oh, hello. The creepy girl's no Violet. Violet.
Excellent work. Gold star for
Who the
you.
fuck's this child?
Oh, hello. This is my goddaughter.
Well, I guess that
Sophia.
clears up something. Why is she a freak?
She's only 9, and
Why is she like-
she's a maths genius.
Why is she the single version of the twins from The Shining?
I have to pop to my room to get something. Be nice to her while I'm gone. Otherwise, I might have to smother you in your sleep.
I'm a detective investigating a murder. That's not what you say to me. Where were you?
What's your name?
I'm not telling you shit. I'm the detective here. I'm the boogeyman, bitch.
No, you're not. I've seen the boogeyman.
Have you? Did he murder
Don't
Dorota?
look like you. Do you want to know a secret?
Yeah, you go on then.
Violet was taken by aliens in their ship.
Oh shit. No, we found her body.
She
Dickhead.
doesn't want anyone to know.
Sorry about that. Sophia, your mother will be here for you soon, so run along and wait.
Your goddaughter's mental.
Now,
She's
Sam,
mental.
how can I help you?
She should be locked away. Sophie mentioned aliens.
She has a wicked imagination for her age.
No, we've all imagined aliens. She's just crazy. That's it, okay. Do you think you were abducted? Is that why you are taking pills?
I was seeing and hearing things that weren't there.
Or maybe there are aliens.
That's why I'm taking pills.
Sophia's a demon, don't let it grow or it'll spell the end of all humanity. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, totally. Have you told everybody else?
I needed to confide in someone, so I told Chief Dupont.
Oh, you silly bitch.
Just Chief Dupont.
Yeah, but he's a massive
And
gossip.
Now you, apparently.
I do not trust her, no man. She had a really wide mouth. I reckon it's to eat whole entire people like an anaconda. Do you think you're abducted?
Why are you talking about this again? You understand, every time you mention abduction, it opens up a vault of crushing memories that I'd rather stay locked up.
Yeah, but those memories could be relevant, you dumb plonker. Yeah.
No,
You didn't see Zach?
not even the moon.
You didn't see Zach? Because, you know, I came here as Zach.
I don't really want to.
Tell me. Tell me!
About a month ago, the guest house was empty and I was alone in my bedroom.
Okay.
All I could hear was dripping.
Okay. Aliens
Cold
might
tap.
be water-based. Or
Drip.
taps. Yeah, okay.
Drip. Drip.
Get headphones.
Then it began.
Earplugs. Close your
It
door up,
smelled
maybe.
iron. A strong metallic smell.
Maybe you're having a stroke?
Then I could taste it
Yeah, I think she was just having a
on
stroke.
my tongue.
That's usually where you taste.
And then weightlessness. Like time and space had stopped.
Maybe you just had gas.
That was the first time they took me.
The first.
It's happened 5 times. Even on clozapine.
Oh.
Get that strange aura, then I'm gone.
Boop.
I had tests for epilepsy, amongst other things.
What things?
But all the scans were normal.
What about the blood tests, though? Do you actually disappear? Have you filmed yourself?
As far as I know, I've gone.
Why wouldn't you put a camera up?
It's difficult to explain. I'm stuck in the wall of an enormous room made from these wooden vines, except the
Okay.
vines slowly move and drip with pain.
Oh.
My head is pushed out like I'm a
Dripping
trophy.
pain.
If I look to my side, there are others' heads,
Right. Okay.
all prisoners,
Yep.
being experimented on.
Good experiments? Bad experiments?
They rearrange us
Oh.
like decorations,
Huh.
suck us backwards into the darkness, and then thrust us back through the wall.
Sucking and thrusting. At least they're a
And
bit,
then they
you know,
return me home.
hospitable.
I'm broken.
Doesn't seem that broken.
Bruises,
I mean,
memories.
we all just occasionally look at our arms or something and be like, oh, I've got like a little scratch or a bruise on there. Where the fuck did that come from, you know? Anyway, Nutter,
Of course.
do you know her?
Poe and Monroe. She's on the radio.
Don't laugh. This is... Oh, that was it? That was all you could tell me?
She could see the light at the end, and she was
Shut up,
afraid as
Poe.
much as calm.
Alright, let's see Bronwyn. How you doing, girl? You know Zach Weston do any boudoir
No.
pictures?
I can do a reading if you want.
You always want to do these goddamn readings. Go on then. She loves these readings, man. I bet she sets murders up just so they can have more readings.
Chariot.
Okay, so we're going to listen to some evangelists. Good.
Is Zach a suspect?
Sure.
I'm sensing there's a lot of tension, pent-up frustration, like he's trying to keep everything together, and if he can just do that... I'm sorry, that's not much help to you, is it?
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I didn't need to hear. Tell me about rights.
A little
and stuff.
bit. What did you want to know?
Yeah.
A
Let's
right
start from the
can take many
basics.
forms, but from what we know about these travelers, it seems to be performing some kind of coming-of-age ceremony.
Hmm.
Yes, a rite of passage. Running havoc in our dimension is rewarded in theirs. Not fair, is it?
I don't know. Sounds pretty cool if you're from their dimension. Why were there 3 victims before this, you murderer?
3 is a powerful number.
Yes, it is.
There's a divine
a
balance
magic
to it
number.
in our universe, anyway.
No more, no less.
But maybe it doesn't mean anything where the
you
traveler's
don't have
from.
to guess.
Maybe 3 is just the carry-on limit for interdimensional travel.
Fair enough. Do people eat coins?
Was it a gold coin?
Yeah, why would you put a fucking bronze one in there?
That's more of a serial killer thing than a possessed by a traveler thing.
Is it your type of thing? Do you
It's
do
a
that
bit
when you
showy,
kill?
but well, there's no guarantees.
I just told her vital information. Tell me about Alice Monroe.
I've heard on the radio, but other than that, I don't know anything about her. I want to help though.
What do you know about
That's
these
the
two?
$1 million question, isn't it?
No.
Although we can be
We're in
sure of
England.
one thing.
Pounds, please. No. both redheads.
Yeah, she sounded blonde on the radio, but Mercury called her as a redhead.
I need your help.
Yes, of course. Anything.
Stop murdering.
I've already been doing that, but sure, I'll keep at it.
Yeah, keep looking at your
Maybe
cards.
it'll feel
So
sorry for
stressful.
me and finally put out.
Wait, what?
For curiosity of the audience, fed
Is she
these
gonna have sex with
other
cards?
demons. Gave
Yeah, mate. That's life. Tell me more about Birmingham.
In Birmingham, it was a man called Yuri Harris.
Okay,
He worked as a butcher.
was he a redhead?
He beheaded all 3 girls within hours of each other.
Oh, so he's efficient.
And we couldn't stop it.
Because you're not efficient.
He pleaded not guilty
I
for
reckon
reason
they all
of
did it.
temporary
They all just
insanity.
took a go at strangling her. Why do you think he was a traveller, you racist?
Because he said he'd see us again. In August.
Maybe he just meant the
Before
month.
we even knew it was a month and a place.
Yeah, but maybe he did just mean the month. Maybe he doesn't know about this place. Maybe just really
Yes.
wrong.
I met her at the radio station.
Why were you at the radio station?
I was offering my services.
What services?
Earning a living's tricky when you travel
Fuck.
around as much as we do. And
No one
last time I
pays you
checked,
to-
Violet wasn't offering us
No one
room
pays you
board
to do
free.
this stuff. I don't know where you get money from. They're clearly murderers and they just take the money off the people they murder.
after a long
They're
day
hoping
of
to get a TV
pain,
show or a video
finding
game,
the
you know?
water below like you'd find the bed sheet.
So what's the news about Ellis? I feel so useless sitting here. I want to help.
You're not allowed.
Yes, please use me. Tell me what to do.
Find out who the murderer is. I could send her to Sack Western. She'll end up with some nice boudoir pictures. Speak to the
You got
ghosts
it.
and shit.
Me and the spirit world are gonna have a serious chat.
Cool. I hope one
I'll
of them
get back to you
possesses
when I
you.
find something.
Good. Hopefully it's Satan himself. Bye.
Snap the tree branch or his trachea. The note
Okay.
they found in his room led them down the...
So.
You're only alive because we want you to be.
Who dat? It was her, and it was him. They all did it. The bastards. So, I reckon they're all basically saying they don't really know her beyond her being an actual TV personality. I'm going to be her for a bit. We'll shake, rattle, and roll.
Hi, I'm Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ellis.
Mm-hmm. And no one can take that
He
away
was
from me.
eroding the people on shore until only the sand remained. The demon.
Just wanted to see if anything happened when we turned it off. I'm not sure if I've done that earlier or not.
No shared
Oh, so she's not home.
air. Just an audience.
She's not home.
Curiosity.
Where are they all, man? Is it dinner time and it's like just do we have dinner in the same place? Must be.
August.
What's
Dark
going on?
nights with Poe
Oh.
and Monroe.
Oh, weird. They're not in. Okay, well I guess I'll get
By
her to
Adam
taxi
Day.
to the photographer
From
and the.
this height, nighttime
Widower.
London sparkles. Arms wide.
He's not in.
A tower block.
Wow, man, this chick's gonna die and not a single
The
person
pavement.
can say goodbye. Wow, not a single person was there for her, and she's
Tenzin
like
taught
the next
me
person
that
who's
the
gonna die.
secret
Okay.
was to never hit the ground.
Yeah, don't
There's
hit
a
the
blue
ground.
steel
What's it done to you?
dumpster at the back of the dream.
So she was a write-off. Let's try being in for a bit.
I'm Oscar. Is there anything else I can do?
Alright,
That
let's go see
dumpster and
people.
chase the rest of the street off.
No one there. I'm guessing they're all going to be out for him as well, aren't they?
Easy access to the stairwells.
Yeah.
And a roof with a view to die for. In our eyes,
Okay, we're just going to
Tenzin's
skip
story.
trying to talk to
A
Lexi as
former
well.
monk, expelled.
Maybe if I try and be... Yeah, let's try and be Lexi.
Hi, I'm Lexi.
Because she did suggest... we did have a possible thing to say for her to go see Zach.
I'm Lexi.
So we might be able to see Zach as her anyway.
I close my eyes as the concrete rises up to embrace.
Oh, you're in. But I can't talk to you anyway.
He said. And we always exist in the...
Oops.
Our job is so...
Tell me about it. Chasing around the unknown, trying to triumph good over evil, generally standing around helpless watching people die.
Why would you watch
Why
them
do we
die?
do it?
For me, it's a common decency thing. Hi, I'm Bronwyn. Did you know the Earth was overrun by transdimensional evil? Want to help fix it? Sure.
Transdimensional evil?
I'll read the manual, Lex.
Wait, is there a manual?
People are afraid of
that'd be quite
ghosts, zombies, and aliens. They never even think to consider the possibility that there are millions of universes, potentially with millions of predators, all far more evolved
Millions
than
of
we are.
predators would have so much better
What are our
chance
chances of
against
victory?
alien. Because there were so many more xenomorphs in those movies.
But if we don't fight at all,
it was
zero.
unrealistic.
Curiosity shop. Okay, Alice, this is what I brought in today.
Lexicorn, how thin are these walls?
What do you mean the walls are thin?
I can hear you screaming at your Ouija board. Last night too.
Maybe
I
she's
feel
just
like
trying
I've
to
heard
make
your
friends.
whole life story. Does Sam like me? Is Violet a lesbian? Will Ellis die? Will Bronwyn die? That last one, don't worry about that.
You're not going to kill
Why
yourself.
not? Because you're immortal.
Okay.
Okay.
I
got an
am
achievement for that,
Bronwyn
Highlander.
MacLeod from the Clan MacLeod, and I am immortal. You silly badger.
You're allowed to say cunt.
But why is he in pain?
Very good question. I can answer that for you. It's a porcelain figure.
Taxi.
Ancient Chinese.
Why are these people allowing these people into their house
It's called the
when they're not
Screaming
in?
Monk. Legend has it that...
Just going up to
Sorry,
empty
we're
chairs.
closed.
Again, stop telling people you're closed but letting them in.
Unless you're here for something else.
Yeah, take some pictures of me.
I'm a friend of Dorota's.
Dorota. I'm sorry about what happened.
Dorota told me things about you.
Things? That's ominously vague. I'm not sure what you mean.
Things, bro.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Dennis.
Lexi.
Lexi. I like it. It's got an edge.
Yeah, her mum and dad picked it out.
Dorota says she knew you. You're dating Violet, aren't you? I know what you did. You're
Ooh.
dating Violet, aren't you?
No, we're just friends.
Ah.
That's not what you told Sam. That's not what Violet thinks.
Violet doesn't always see things clearly. It's fine.
I think this guy's a swami prick, but I don't think he did it. I think he's just
Doesn't
trying. I
see
think he's
what
genuinely
clearly?
just trying to bang as many women as he can.
You know, some women, they think a bunch of flowers means a relationship. Anyway, why are we talking about Violet? Let's talk about you.
Alright, my name's Fizzle.
Dorota says she knew you.
Not had many boudoir pictures done, you know.
Yeah, she had a portrait session with me. Can I get you a drink?
Yes. A litre of vodka,
No,
please.
thank- Sure.
What drink are you going to give me? Oh, it is vodka. Huh. Is that the Dan Aykroyd one? Did he do the one with the skull on it? You literally get me a litre of vodka. Did you hear me? That's probably not a litre, to be fair. Like,
Here, I've only got vodka. You're old enough to drink, right?
is this an
Of
option?
course. Does it matter?
Wow, okay. Well, this guy just went to even more creepy
I like
levels.
you already.
She's 12, man.
I know what you did to Dorota.
Go.
I didn't do anything to Dorota.
Sorry, it's the vodka.
You killed her. You seduced her.
You make it sound so sordid. Dorota didn't do anything she didn't want to.
Apart from die.
From the Jessichin.
Why are you not home?
She said.
Arrest him. That is 100%
Then
everyone.
she-
Well, no one at home, man.
It took a lot of effort with the
The lights are on too, you know. They're just
alternately
so much waste of
plunging and
electricity. you
trying
know.
to saw.
Alright. Should we change? Who should we change into now? Maybe... Maybe we change into... Maybe if
The
I stay
frontal
Lexi.
lobe, nasal cavities inside.
See if I can speak to Violet about them not being in a relationship, maybe? No.
Empty. A black void.
Okay. Maybe I should try being her and talking to Lexi. Also, she spoke to
Hi.
Oscar, so maybe I should go to Oscar.
I'm Bronwyn.
Okay.
When I used the knife, it hurt.
That's what happens with knives.
Do you believe Tara can predict things now?
I'm not one for mystics and crystal balls. I'm a Virgo.
It says you're lying about your alibi.
Oh, shit.
Did it really?
Yeah. Totally.
Can it predict the murderer?
Yeah.
No. Of course not. You'd have done that already.
We have. You're being arrested. Alien
That
person.
they have the same dream every night. Now it's a woman lying in a lake with her eyes closed.
What a day. Alice Munro, then. Looks like our traveller likes redheads.
I wouldn't be so sure. Looks that way. I wouldn't be so... Looks that... I wouldn't... Looks that... I wouldn't be so sure.
Man, you've got 7 now. Fucking hell.
Should we be worried about Violet?
It might be someone else. It might not even be a
Maybe.
redhead.
She thinks she was abducted by aliens.
Then that possibly means she's already been a traveller target.
Yeah, right.
What else did she say?
She is a redhead.
Something
That
about
she's a
being in a
redhead.
row of heads.
So they're killing us for sport.
8! And they've got 8 now. Did they score one since you typed that? That's great.
When she opens her
Although I hate
eyes,
menu, but still, fucking hell, man.
So, it's almost the person who's dreaming is...
Bron, what are we going to do about Ellis?
Gonna have to kill her.
What would you do about Alice?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Let's think. What have we tried before?
Good
A few times we've caught up with the Traveller, nothing's worked.
Talking to them?
Please don't kill that person. Okay, thanks. Oh no, look, you killed them anyway.
Did you try, though?
No, that doesn't work, Bron.
But have we tried just saying, please don't kill the person? That's
Now,
That's
the
fair.
black hair in this dream actually also relates to the repression of emotion. And then the drowning actually relates to emotional stress.
Yeah, I just said it's 8. I think there's been
if
another
I'm
one
honest,
later.
Alex, and I hope you're listening.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Who are you? What are you doing in my house?
Your door's been wide open. Everyone's
out
been
now
walking.
before I call the police.
Everyone's been walking into your house. Everybody. You're just not been at your chair. So they do just
emotion can be
walk in
quite
there. They
bad
don't
for the
actually
soul.
knock for each other. Hey, Charm! How you doing, dude?
Jump to.
No, Mojo is
Thank
so
you again
late.
for sharing with us.
So 2000 and late,
so
you know what I'm
impressive.
saying? This Oscar kid doesn't
I
give chat to
tried.
anyone.
Take something from this.
Thank you for your dream.
Welcome to Poe's Curiosity Shop.
Maybe I'll take Rain out on the road.
Hello, I'm Rain.
It's like, yeah, they scored another. That's nuts, isn't
I
it?
suppose with 2 alien babies? And then it's...
Hi, Rain. Did you miss me while I was gone?
Where'd you go? Wait, you were gone?
So,
I'm honestly not going to try and worry about this one.
So yeah, Chum, this is
We
a game
killed
where
Sam and
it's all video
that's all
based,
we
but
can
we
do.
make decisions. We're a shape-shifting detective.
Really?
Let's find out who murdered a lady.
well, what's Sam going to
What's
do?
Sam going to do?
I believe Sam
Going
is
to
going
do?
to save Ellis. According to the Ouija, this could play out in a
If I have the
lot
whole
of
Sam,
different ways,
I
but mostly
don't have
saving
any
Ellis.
Southampton players in my team. Thank fuck.
What other ways?
Ellis could run, Ellis could die, Ellis could be saved, mistaken
Oh, go for
identity,
saved.
someone else dies. There's a lot of noise coming from the beyond. But it's not just a load of voices saying Ellis will die.
What they're
Sam's
saying.
got this.
I don't think he has. He has to shapeshift just to get
It's
the
slightly
truth. You know?
frightening that it's from so long ago.
What is it, Ray?
I have a plan.
I have a plan.
You do. Enlighten me.
Okay. We need straws.
Maybe Ellis should stay with us. Maybe Ellis should stay with maybe.
Yeah.
With our track record.
Why can't she stay here? That'd be
If
a
she
good
gets
shout.
killed anywhere near us, we'll be sent to jail, whether we did it or not.
So?
That's cold.
Right.
I'm just being practical.
Cold, practical.
Ellis's fate is in our hands.
Oh, savage chum.
Ours isn't.
I hope you're not a fan of the local team then.
She's grocery shopping, and when she finally gets to the
Yeah, Fernandes
checkout,
and
there's a
Rashford. I have
huge queue.
Fernandes in my team.
Now, when she
Neither
gets
of those
to the
count
cashier,
as
she realizes she's left her
Southampton
money at
players.
home.
You right, girl? How's your
Who is-
abductions?
You saw her, did you?
Yeah, the little creepy girl.
She's my goddaughter. At that age
Where is she? You just leave her on her own running around?
Is she a ghost?
Yeah, that's my question.
What makes you say that, Rain?
Because she's creepy as fuck.
Is there something about her aura?
Yeah, it's a creepy aura. She's got a creepy aura. And that's it.
Issue.
She's definitely a
That's
little
also
ghost.
something you could say about most dreams.
Okay.
That
You're certainly not fair.
There's an unresolved issue here. but
Taxi.
It's related to shopping.
Let's go in
Haven't
her
you
house.
done enough predicting my death?
So she told the other girl to like stop, just don't go
sorry.
into her house, but this one, fine.
It's okay. I'm just kidding. I know it's not your fault.
It is.
Well,
She doesn't look
unless
like a
you're the
natural
killer.
redhead either, by the way.
Have you made a decision about the show?
I haven't got
I think it's a
Rashford, but
no.
Aidan definitely has.
Sorry. It's just the reading that you gave me the other day. I don't want
think
to
it does.
scare off the audience.
Why would I scare off your listeners?
They don't want to hear talk of death and darkness.
Didn't you run one of those
they
sort of
do,
shows? Yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
in a story. But you can't tell them.
Hope
they're
Son
going
doesn't
to
play, so I
die.
get Fernandes as captain.
I
Yeah, how
said
many
you were going to
has
die.
Fernandes got?
You didn't say you're going to die, just like that, but I remember the death card. And the devil.
Oh, that's fine. That just means
And
party.
you said it was... What was the word you used?
Party.
My challenge.
No.
That I needed to die so I could be free from my chains.
Oh, that
I
sounds
know you
nice.
said it doesn't mean literal death, but maybe it does.
Oh shit. Damn man, 11 points. That's nuts. And I don't know if it's captain. There's no way Son's gonna do as well.
A
Surely.
relationship, perhaps,
You don't want to take boudoir pictures of me?
with someone
Oh,
else's
fuck.
significant
No one's allowed to speak to that child apparently.
your own
I
identity.
might be the chief. I might go back and be the chief and have a little
Personally,
whip
I
round.
believe that every
I don't think I've spoken to
relationship
anyone
that
as
you
the chief
have
for a
with
while.
someone should be equal.
Yeah, I
and
might
you
get
should
bonus points
be
too. That
loved
often
for your-
happens.
For who you are.
I do love that. Seeing like a good match go like even better. Like the next morning.
Hi, Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Chief DuPont.
Hi. Ah. Hi. Hi.
For this listener, and I hope she...
Claude.
Violet.
Thank you
Good
for
talk.
your dreams.
You're welcome.
You're listening to Radio August.
Wasn't it Southampton who got 9-0 by last season by Leicester too?
Chief,
It
what
could
a
have
surprise
been.
to see you.
They're one of
Again.
those weird teams that they're like sometimes like have a really good spell, but then they're just like god awful at other times. Yeah.
I told you Dorota was first, and that didn't turn out very well, did it? Let's hope Sam does a better job than you did.
Wow.
Only
Rude.
Lex. He pulled his cap down more firmly, blew on his finger. From the doorway of the boarded-up shop
10
across
minutes.
the street,
Yeah, that's
two
a
young men
crazy
watched.
bad match. Yeah.
The low cloud had brought the
Yeah, just getting fucked when you got 10 men and then there's
urban people
just
off
get
the
fucked
streets,
up
and
hard
this
like that.
old-timer was out late. The youths nodded to each other,
so we'll
took final swigs from their cans of beer, and strolled blithely down the
go
pavement, tracking the pensioner.
see Oscar.
Chief.
Hey, he's
I
actually here.
wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, go on then. You want a proper
is it
razor?
about the boudoir photos?
Yeah. So it's true then.
Yeah, but she didn't fuck the photographer.
I haven't seen them. It's all tasteful stuff. Maybe a gift for you.
Should we add salt to the wound? Oh, may as well.
I didn't get them. Now I feel like I'm the only person who hasn't seen them.
Pretty much, they're really good, dude. His life has been destroyed.
Am I still a suspect?
Yeah. Yeah. You've definitely got the most anger in you now.
But I was playing football, and there was loads of witnesses.
We haven't spoken to any of the
How?
witnesses yet. That's your fault.
Everyone is a suspect.
You killed her after that implanted.
It's ridiculous.
What are you going to do about it?
It's feeding frenzy for the first time.
You alright, mate? Bye.
Easy to say, harder to live.
Chief DuPont,
Howdy.
thanks for calling in.
You will be.
I'm just checking.
At the moment, my heart's beating 1,000 times a
Stretch
minute
like
and
in
I
the
can't
head,
sit
yeah.
still. Every noise or knock on the door makes me jump out of my skin, and I keep looking behind me.
We all have.
Is that safe?
What, looking behind you? As long as you don't do it too
Have I
quick.
ever let you down?
You might rip your neck, you know.
What's really worrying you?
Yeah.
That you're just saying you're doing things when you're not actually doing anything. What's the plan, Chief Dupont?
Going around and talking
How do we
to
stop
people.
this from happening?
You can't.
How do we stop me from dying?
Everyone dies. So, you can't. You just got to get used to it, I
Then
guess.
they sent me back
Could
into
be
the
worse.
world with a letter for my physician and a bottle of tranquilizers.
Oh. Have we been violent and seen people recently? Or Shipwreck? Have we been Shipwreck? I'm going to call him Shipwreck. I don't think we have. I'm going to be Violet, and then maybe I'll be Shipwreck, and then
Hello, I'm Violet.
and then we'll get going.
I'm Violet.
Gates of madness open at midnight. There's no point in trying to fight it, so
Midnight, okay. Okay, so Bronwyn's in the shitter.
out there, it's a chill night.
Rain is also in the same shitter.
Go without looking suspicious on the surveillance cameras. I take
Lexi is also in said shitter.
autonomous in the tube and fewer cameras. Pulled up the hood and walk out into the rain. The Pentonville Road
Also pooping.
G side streets. It's
Hello, lovely.
Hello.
Take a look at this. It's a picture of Dorota.
No, why are you showing just to the chick that you're kind of
I
dating?
don't want to see pictures of your conquests.
Yeah, right.
It's not like that. It's just a press photo. Do you see anything in it?
He keeps saying that shit.
A girl holding a cello. What do you see?
Beautiful lady. I can make you look like that, Violet. You just need to let me.
You can give me a cello? I'd let him take pictures of me if he gave me a free cello, man. They're not cheap things.
I slow down, give an innocent pass.
His boudoir shots are all hips and nips. No one takes about them. Gotta keep it sexy, man. You gotta keep it sexy. Hey, and Hammy! How the hell are you doing, buddy? You've been a wee little while, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Right, cellos are fucking badass. They're pretty big.
The footsteps
I reckon I
behind
could
me
find space.
cease.
Push comes to shove.
Slipped into the
Be better if you had a cello,
doorway.
right? For real. I'm doing splendid. Cheers, man. Been doing good. We're currently a shape-shifting detective trying to find out who murdered a lady. And it might just be aliens? If it does turn out it is aliens, then...
Is there anything else I can do?
Not really. This kid doesn't do anything apart from get his life ruined really easily.
I once watched it overwhelm 3 skinheads who
Does anyone care for him? No, no one's going to care for this dude, are they?
Strong
They're all going to hide under the bed.
stuck in.
Try rain? Maybe Violet?
I'd convinced myself I was over it, that I was
No, no one there.
so wrong.
When you hear Shapeshifter, you think aliens? That's it. Well, one chick's seen aliens apparently.
Reconnaissance. I couldn't count on being
And we know there's
selective
like
and
travelers from another dimension,
Still tore my
supposedly.
head apart when
I
the
really want these two
School
to.
Wainwright.
Yeah, okay, we can
Tell
finally
us
have it
so
out.
much about you.
All right, so this guy thinks that this guy fucked his chick just before she died as well.
Were you sleeping with Dorota?
Oh, all right, everyone, get your cameras out. Get ready to upload to Worldstar. Let's go.
No. Were you? She just asked me to watch. I didn't even get past the adverts.
You watched her?
Yes, I watched her.
Oh, there you go.
You know she's into that. That can't be news to you.
Right, so he didn't fuck her, but he did watch her masturbate.
There's no predictable pattern.
Well,
to
he
it.
just
You
left.
can go on
Did he
quietly.
murder him? Maybe.
I once.
Oscar, good. You got my message.
Yeah.
Got some things to show you.
Okay. Is it
What
going
have
to be
you got?
sexy pictures?
Does this mean anything?
It is
to
sexy
you?
pictures.
That's Dorota.
Mm-hmm.
And what if I showed you this?
Oh shit!
Alice Monroe.
Do you know her?
Well, everyone knows of her apparently.
She's from the radio.
And if I do this?
This poor kid! If this kid isn't the actual murderer, he is 100% going to murder somebody by the end of this. We told him that someone was giving it to his girlfriend before we knew. So, like, loads of people keep calling his girlfriend, who's dead by the way, a slut. Like even this dude's been like, yeah, this chick's banging it because you turned your chick off of men, dude. That's basically what he's saying. Like this poor kid.
That'll be all.
He says he plays for like five-side football too, but I bet he's like last picked.
It's a way to live
He's just
with
there
the
to pay the
monstrosity of it.
extra
It's
subs so they
barbaric,
can
but
rent the
at least
pitch.
I tell myself the Slayer only takes those that the world is better off without.
The Slayer. I'll be down for some Buffy
I
action.
find a good spot. The entrance to a yard.
Okay, so I think we'll go back to being Sam now. Yeah. So he needs to move to. Yeah, he just needs to get out, move to a new place. Yeah, change his name.
But he
Maybe
and it
adopt
was only
like an
he.
iguana that he can
He's
befriend.
just being careful before he doubles back.
Not anything with hair. He doesn't deserve a pet with hair.
It's 9 o'clock
cool, here
and
we
you're
go.
listening to Radio August.
Radio
Investigations
August,
into the
sweet.
murder of 21-year-old Dorota Shaw are continuing this evening. Miss
These
Shaw
are really
was
cool little
found dead
scenes,
in
these
her
bits, I
home
love
at
them.
approximately 10 p.m. last night in what police are describing as a puzzling case. Residents are urged to be cautious until the perpetrator is caught. I cannot stress this enough, August. Stay safe out there.
Don't stress, bro.
You mean the world to me. In other news, Monroe has been detained.
August
on
is an
urgent
entire town,
business,
by the
so
way.
you're
Like,
stuck with me
he's
until
not just
she
talking to one
returns.
person.
Never fear, Monroe fans. We still have lots of pre-recordings, so you can relax with her angelic.
See, that's the thing. Like, these people could have been
That's
doing a
9
free
o'clock with
recording.
Poe and
We're getting further through this game, but we haven't really got like a solid on who we think's the actual like murderer. Most people are still pretty guilty like, at the moment, or like still got a pretty good element of like you're just a weirdo anyway. But some of them are starting, I guess, to be a bit more like maybe they are okay. Like Violet seems to be quite a nutter, but maybe she has just been abducted by aliens, which does send anybody a little loopy, I'm guessing, especially if their head's been removed.
And
Jumping
or all
around.
three combined takes control of my body.
I totally did it, but they just don't know, man. They're just
The
like,
wild
it's
exhilaration
ridiculous.
of the beast sets my senses on.
Sam, I've got some heavy rain news.
Heavy rain. What are you saying?
Lawrence Petrovsky, that's his real name, and no,
Oh.
he's not a Russian spy.
Sounds
But he does have a criminal record.
like, yeah. Oh, what did he do?
He was charged with the murder of a 21-year-old artist.
Oh, okay.
Looks like he got off on a technicality by all
Were
accounts.
red-headed? When? Yeah, when was this? Like a week ago? Or?
About 3 months ago in Hong
Oh,
Kong.
so that's still pretty
Be careful,
recent.
Sam. If you're going to ask him about this, it could be a flight risk.
I'm gonna
And
punch
you know,
shit out of him.
there's a good chance he could be the killer.
Oh, shit.
Door's behind you.
Oh, what we're gonna make out.
Rain's still a suspect. No corroborated alibi. Bronwyn Castle has one. Lexi Taylor doesn't. I've got my search back on Rain, or Petrovsky, as we should call him. He's got priors that you're looking into.
Okay.
Violet says she doesn't
See,
remember last night.
so Rain is a murderer. Rain did murder
Westwood
somebody,
says he was in his
and
studio last night.
we did
No
say
one
he has the
corroborates.
eyes of a killer at the start of the game.
Oscar's in the clear. He was playing football last night. He said
He
that
keeps saying
Dorota
that.
had a wedding
Can we
dress in
talk
the
to the
closet.
people he played football with? Has that been
People remember
corroborated?
that. That's it.
I personally want to frame. If we don't figure it out definitively who it is, we're just going to frame that kid because we've already ruined his life. No use ruining other people's lives if they're potentially innocent. But anyway, that was lovely to talk to you, Chief. Eat shit, die.
Hey, I'm going. There's too many people asking questions. It's
Oh, he is
exhausting.
going. He is going
I
to
want
a
stay
new
at my
town.
aunt's. I'll come back tomorrow, but I've said everything I can say.
No, you're not allowed to leave, right? Right? Like your girlfriend was murdered. You're a prime suspect. Where are you going? You just leaving me in your house? You just walked out of his own house.
By the time the night bus arrives, the high.
It's a shame you can't steal stuff in this game. You right? Really gonna be in the next year?
Probably right here. Why? I didn't realise I was under house arrest.
It's more of a studio arrest, I guess.
Thanks for the advice.
Here you go, Reddit's
I
people.
hope I'm not the only suspect.
Yep. Only suspect, dude. Because you have hands.
Safe home at last.
Hi, how you doing? Oh,
Warm
that good, hey?
bath and
Okay, let's go see
wonder
Poe.
You're the detective.
Oh, hello.
Monroe just called. This is madness. Who would want to hurt her?
I feel like he should have a bigger mustache.
We've worked together for years. She's the light to my shade, the angel to my demon, the diamond.
You're not
to
on the
my
radio
lump.
show right now, bro.
She told me to say all those things.
Yo, is she single?
I believe not. She has a big heart, and in my opinion, opens it too easily.
So he's calling her a slut. A lot of slut shaming in this game.
Only a madman. Or woman. Monroe is August's sweetheart. Poe and Monroe. That was her idea.
Poe and Monroe?
Our show. We were just another local radio station before that. It was Monroe who decided we should have a theme.
And hide your face.
Dark Nights with Poe and Monroe. Don't tell me you haven't heard it, Detective. That's what the Free Radio Project is all about.
Tell me more about the Free Radio Project.
Uniting August via the airwaves. Monroe's been delivering free radios anywhere people might want to listen. Doctor's surgeries, hairdressers, the guest house.
Maybe they are travelers themselves and they're like implanting shit into people's heads. Yeah.
That's cynical, Detective. Not at all.
I'm surprised the only goal
We aren't the
Fernandez
only
mustered
show,
out of all
really.
9 was a penalty. Really? God damn it! It's like the only menu player I'm probably ever gonna have this year. I had Bisker in actually at the start of the year, I think, but I swapped him out quite quick. So, do you know Dorota Shaw?
We interviewed her about her scholarship not too long ago.
Interesting.
Do you think whoever killed Dorota plans to kill Monroe? What makes you think she's in danger?
She's got red hair. And
Terrible.
cards.
Does this have anything to do with the gentleman who stopped by?
Gentleman who stopped by? Who'd be that?
I didn't get his name, I'm afraid.
What did he
He
look like?
offered to do a spot on our show. Doing tarot
Rain,
readings to answer listener questions. We said we'd think about it. You know, this town is fascinating. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, really?
Have you ever read
I've
up
actually seen
on
any
the
of the
real
towns.
history of August?
No. Tell me more.
The official story is that Mary August retired from a life on the high seas.
Oh, she
found
started
a
Pirate
nice
Bay.
spot here and used her ill-gotten gains
Let's say
to
a
establish a
smoke
town.
of non-description.
That's not what really happened.
I do like all the sassy answers, but I do want to find out
It's true
more.
that Mary August was a pirate, but she didn't
Yarr.
retire. Her ship was sunk on the rocks just off the coast. Mary and all of her crew sought refuge in a small fishing town. This one.
What's a fishing town? Go on.
They slaughtered everyone.
Oh.
Men, women, and children. All dead and dismembered in their own home.
So it probably is an Indian
The
burial
bodies
ground
were
type
dumped
thing.
in a mass grave.
Yeah.
body parts.
This is definitely a burial ground
Pirates
type
moved
shit.
in.
So we got aliens. So it's just humans that we thought maybe killed her in the beginning. Now we got aliens potentially. We got ghost children. We got pirates. And yeah. And then grave stuff. Yeah, where is the grave?
No one knows.
Oh.
It seems at some point it was built over and then forgotten about.
Right.
It could be under the school or the church.
When will people learn, man?
Or right beneath.
Properly signpost burial grounds. You really shouldn't be building stuff.
On
top
that
of them.
note, I should
always
probably
leads to
get
bad
back to the booth.
hauntings.
The show must
Check out the
go
Arsenal
on.
keeper red card.
Death
Oh, it's the
threats.
keeper that got us sending off as well. That's even more savage. Oh wait, no, that's a different game, right?
She's the only Monroe.
But the Arsenal keeper just got red carded. That's amazing.
It's now 10 o'clock.
Swift on
Here's
red
your
card. Oh wait, no, that
August
must have been
update.
earlier as well.
Investigations
It's way too late for
deepen
football
into
now.
last night's murder of 21-year-old Dorota Shaw. Miss Shaw, a talented cellist who had recently been granted a place at Juilliard,
Wait, is this
was
skipping
found
me straight to the
strangled at
next
her
section?
home last night. With the murderer still at large, Chief DuPont has urged residents to remain calm and stresses there is almost no chance of anyone else being harmed. Alice, if you're listening, let me know you're okay. In other news,
Yeah, I think this is
a
trying to push
handful
us
of
on,
August
but
residents have
we're going to go
reported
back to
seeing
the house
strange
first.
lights in the sky.
I think
earlier
it's once you
this
go back to
evening.
like
Lights which
this sort of
witnesses
menu
describe
in
as
Taxi
searingly
with
bright were
with
spotted
Sam.
near
It
the east edge
re-triggers
of
this.
town, past
Arsenal
the fire
and Southampton got 2 reds
Have you
each.
seen any
Really?
strange lights? For that
Damn, it was
matter,
just a
little green men?
angry day today
Let me
for
know.
football.
That's 10 o'clock with Poe.
Yeah, that's nuts. I'm going to keep investigating. Keep investigating.
Curiosity shop.
What's happening?
Today
there?
I've brought
There
in
we
a
go.
really cool object.
Is my controller
What
just not
might
working?
this be?
Oh, maybe it's because it's Bluetooth and I'm
Well,
moving it too far away.
It
Okay, makes sense.
definitely looks like an alien. And from what I can see, it's like a...
Oh, it's you.
Oh, I don't sound so
I was hoping it might be
happy.
Zach.
Oh, I'll come back a Zach in a bit and pretend to give you some sort of resolution.
Yes, now I remember. It's the one in the hall. Sometimes cuts through the unbearable silence in this place.
I'm going to turn it off and listen to Unbearable Silence for a bit after this, I think.
I'd remember her voice, but her face... That's very plain, isn't it?
I mean... You're a judgy weirdo. But goddamn, you're fine. Do you know John Pope?
No.
Oh. Good talk.
Oh, him, yes. I've heard him on the radio. Never met in real life, though.
I'll come back as him as well.
Are you mocking me, Sam?
Yes.
No, I have never met the man.
Have you seen Zach lately?
No.
Yeah, that's right, because he
And
doesn't
I've got
love
some
you.
very
Get him.
important news for him if he
Pregnant?
ever shows up.
What is it? Tell me.
Yes. If he ever shows up.
Fine, I'll come back as him, but you could just save me the effort. Oh! Oh! Why's she got scissors in her hand? I hope she's going to kill that small child ghost. What's happening? Is she going to kill Zach? If I come back as Zach, is she going to stab him? What's going on?
Color on there as well. I think it's like a green. It's like green paint with some engraving
Violet
on
be
it.
crazy.
Yes, what kind of...
I'm going to leave the radio off for a bit. See if we hear any screams or anything. I'm going to try visiting her again. Does it let me visit her again?
No. It's you.
Are you stuck on Nope?
I was hoping it might be Zach.
No, Zach hates you. Yes, Zach hates you. Could be Almighty's the killer. That's true, actually. He's been quiet during all of these particular murders. Yeah. I think we got it on
Sorry,
the
Sam,
head
what
there.
can I do for you?
Are you half left?
Yeah, I always cry around this time of night.
Why? Allergies?
What's the point, Sam, huh?
Point of what? Life?
If we can't save them.
I mean, this is the profession you chose.
Mercury is a curse.
Just give the cards away. Take them to a charity
It's
shop.
like some tourist guide for murders.
TSS.
I try. For Lexi and Ray.
You've been when he just got back.
We can
Or have I? Confirmed.
make a difference,
Mojo,
make a change,
you
but
did a good shout there, my friend. Almighty, you going down.
we haven't so far.
How dare you kill a cellist and not give us the cello? There we go. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm here. Stop being a crybaby.
If we could just save one person, Sam.
Well, hopefully I don't die.
Alice.
Who cares?
We need to save her.
You don't need to.
need to.
You want to. She's not even in your life properly. Any luck with Mercury?
Not really. But it wants to know why you're hesitating.
Fun.
Mercury thinks you are.
Well, it's
I can
just
see
a
its point.
deck of cards.
Alice is in danger and you're still here asking
If
questions.
a deck of cards wants to assume stuff about me, it could maybe just talk to me.
You have to stop asking questions and start taking actions.
Nah,
Sam,
I'm a detective.
this is your time.
Not
Be ready.
a adjective.
It rings a bell, but no. Sorry, Sam.
Nah. It's your buddy. He's a murder face. You right?
Quite a lot, but I'm not sure how much of it is Apparently this town has a lot of spirits with a lot of unfinished business.
There's beat a mass grave.
One woman was looking for her daughter, and there was a girl looking for her mum. It was awful. They were both there, but they couldn't see each other.
Oh,
I couldn't help them.
right. You could. You could have just told them they're there.
Yes, the general message is anyone that tries to stop Ellis dying will be punished. Sam, be careful, please.
They can't hurt me.
He's off the radio. I don't really know him. Actually, I'm glad you're here. I really, really want to do a reading for you right now. You know, to help. Great. Let me just draw 3 cards for you.
Alright, hurry up. Got toast to eat. You didn't shuffle.
I shuffled before you got here.
How do I know that, though?
Okay. Oh.
Just picked 3 off the
Two
top.
of Cups. That's mysterious. Is there anyone you feel a spark of attraction to? Maybe someone you've met recently?
Yeah, the nutty one.
The Lovers. I did not expect that.
Mm.
It seems this attraction has the potential to be life-changing.
Oh, shit.
If you want it to be.
I reckon she's rigging the cards.
And finally,
She's trying to seduce us.
the Knight of Cups. This card is about pursuing your heart's desire.
Yeah, I think she's rigging the elections.
I think it's time to tell that someone special how you really feel.
Alright, you're a piece of shit.
Wow.
Get him.
What an interesting reading.
Yeah, cool.
Does it mean anything to you?
I'm just going to back away from this conversation. Look at her crazy eyes. Right, okay. No, that means nothing to me. It means I should ask you on a date if we survive this. Or sorry, Lexi. The feeling's not mutual. What should we do? Break her heart? Break her heart or lie to her? I suppose we're breaking her heart with each one. But, I'm feeling that we'll probably end up breaking her heart, right? But do we want to string her along and then break her heart? That's the real question. How many murderers can we make from this investigation? All these innocent people we just turn to, like, becoming murderers. Okay. Go for the most? Go for the most? What does that mean? Go for the most painful, do you mean? String her along, see if she does another dance. Okay, that's a good shout. Okay, let's do.
You catch on quickly, don't you, Sam?
She did rig the cards though, so that makes her an absolute fucking liar. But it does mean she's in her pocket now. Yeah.
No. Should I?
Oh, go for the most kills. Okay, yeah, cool. Alright, let's go see Lawrence. How you doing, Murderface?
Honestly, you don't. Once they're caught, a few hours later, they've hopped timelines into someone else. We just keep chasing them.
They said to be careful because he could be a flight
Continuously
risk.
trying to stop them ruining lives. No, but they don't like being exposed. If Mercury pointed them out, they're already in trouble. We'd do a reading. Mercury would know.
So, yeah, I could... If I say these, he's going to know we're onto him. I might leave that for now. And then speak as the other characters and see if they actually know, like, about his previous thing.
Don't confirm the existence of travelers. They're not ready.
The travelers or people in general? So, we can be a good few people now. Let's start off with him, because Violet wanted to tell him something.
I'm Zach Weston. Just sharpening my powers of persuasion.
Okay.
Zach,
Well, on.
the game is up.
Oh, shit!
I think you should leave town.
Oh, shit!
What?
What?
I know where you were last night. I followed you to Dorota's house.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, so she does have a memory.
I didn't know it was Dorota's house until we arrived. Call it women's intuition.
Psycho hose beast.
I was at the studio. You were at Dorota's?
Don't change the subject. Sam and Dupont will put 2 and 2 together.
And then what?
And then they're going to arrest you. You weren't there long, I suppose, but then I guess it doesn't take you long, does it?
Get him.
You were spying on me.